to the second and final point, which is internal systems. And internal systems, as it has to do with the brand, it's really more of an operational standpoint of the business. And regardless of whether you're an agency, whether you're trying to do this yourself in your own business, or you're consulting like we're doing with our clients, it's very important for us to understand the operational process. So before I mention customer service, what makes your customer service stand apart from somebody else? Does your customer, when they think about your company or the experience that they had with your company, does the first thing come to their mind be like, yeah, I had a problem with them and the customer experience support that I had was absolutely incredible, I would buy from them again? Or is their experience something in the nature of like, yeah, I bought something from them, I submitted a ticket and I couldn't get anybody on the phone, or I couldn't get them in a live chat and the customer support sucks, and then they're going to leave you negative reviews wherever they can online. So understanding the internal systems that are in place for each one of our clients is really important, because what we're looking for is potholes down the road that are going to knock the marketing campaign off balance, right? Or things that are going to shoot holes in the marketing campaign. And this could be anything from, HR policies to sales processes to client touch points to the copy that goes into automated emails to, right down to how complex the customer service is and what platforms or software that you guys are actually using to deal with those customer service, situations or complaints. And this brings me to the final item on the list, which is brand consistency and identity. And I bet when you first thought you were watching this video, you probably thought I was going to talk about this. And it is really important, so I definitely want to give it the time that it needs. And for it, we're going to jump over to, again, the Apple and Nike website so that I can run you through the list. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so here at Bulk Goodly, we actually have a sheet that's a part of our standard operating procedure, or SOP for short, that when we're doing our brand audits, we are actually going and we're filling out information, because this is what we're going to hand back to the client for a report. So this is a part of our SOP section where you see this matrix here, where it's comparing, things like the correct logo, consistent imaging, consistent color palette, mission statement, consistent brand story, fonts, the user sentiment, if there's any way to figure that out. And we're going to really do a deep dive into the brand itself and look at all their different channels on social media, including their website, and make sure that all these things are consistent and lining up. So, for example, I'll just run you through the process. So if I was looking at the Apple website, I see the look and feel, right? It looks futuristic. I'm paying attention to the font. I'm paying attention to the color palette on the website. We'll click around. We'll find more what the store looks like. Then the next thing that we're going to do is click over to their YouTube channel. Let's see the first one. Well, let's go to Facebook first, because that's first on our list. So let's go to the Apple Facebook channel. So when I look at the Apple Facebook channel, I mean, it's kind of consistent. And this is actually really interesting when I was going through this process to find out that Apple doesn't really have a whole lot going on their Facebook channel. So, I mean, it's good to know that even the biggest brands in the world, still there's got to be some, I have to believe that there's some reason that they, have stayed away from this, because their Instagram looks really good. And that makes sense, because they're big on pictures and arts and, doing things that are artistic. And when you look at their Instagram profile, it matches very right on with the brand. There's a lot of really cool artistic stuff, a bunch of millennials doing, things around the world, and then just some random stuff in there, but it seems like it lines up with the brand. But then you go to their Facebook and it kind of doesn't. It could use some work. And when you compare it to, let's say, their Twitter page, well, the picture looks the same. So, I mean, it's kind of like the same, but look, Apple hasn't even tweeted. So, if we were doing this review and I was going off of the page that we're looking at here, this is where I'd be making in the notes, and it would say something like, the logo is correct on the website. It's technically correct on Facebook, but I mean, it could use a little work because there's not a lot of content there. Instagram looks pretty good, but some of the pictures on there aren't making any sense and may not necessarily line up with the brand and what are they trying to do there. And I would do the same for LinkedIn and Twitter and what have you. When we come over to YouTube, which is also important, then there should be, obviously, yeah, there is. There's a lot of really cool Apple commercials, because they spend a lot of money on pre and post production and making these national commercials that they put out. I would assume that their YouTube is going to be really good and right on, which it totally seems like it is. So going over to Nike, I do the same thing just to compare and contrast. I'm looking at the font, I'm looking at the website, I'm looking at how it represents the brand. Obviously, it's World Cup time right now at the time of making this video, so they're, obviously highlight items are going to be soccer, or if you live in Europe, football. You look at their Twitter, right? There's their tagline, just do it. That's consistent with their branding. It's right here again. This is a little bit pixelated, so I would take issue with this from an aesthetic appeal. And that would be something that I would want to see fixed. And then I would go down their feed and I would look at some of the content that they're posting. I would see if it's consistent with what's going out on their blog. And then I would move into other things like, Facebook. And you can see, if you compare and contrast even Nike from Apple just on Facebook, Nike apparently does feel like, it's worth posting a bunch of content there. So you can see the other people that are engaging with them. Obviously, Serena Williams, Cristiano Ronaldo, world-renowned soccer player, or in Europe football. And it's all very consistent with the brand. So this is really important, because what you'll find is that when you go through this process with clients, you'll begin to uncover areas of social media that they're not even doing, right? Which is an opportunity to win engagement for new and potential people that would potentially buy from the brand. If a company is like heavy on the recruiting side and they're looking for really good talent, then of course LinkedIn is going to be a very important part that needs to be consistent with the brand messaging, the logo, the colors, and everything. Obviously the mission statement, and then the fonts, and then the story, right? I mean, the stories that we tell. So I mean, the Bolt Goodly brand sort of tagline is, we tell stories that matter, because at the heart of every single brand is the essence of the brand and that story. And we look very deeply into that, because it's a very important integral part of building any really good brand. And then of course the user sentiment. And this really has to do, the user sentiment section probably makes a lot more sense when it comes to local businesses. And so that's basically going and reviewing, their Google Plus profile, their Yelp profile, and just seeing that they've got pretty good reviews, and that on the bad reviews that the business has actually taken some kind of action to rectify wrongs, or to answer back any kind of negative feedback. Yeah. So what you're looking at now is the Bolt Goodly Research Audit Report template, which is the actual template that we use when we're auditing a new client's brand. So I'm going to just really quickly recap what we went over today. Number one thing, find the most sought after keyword. If you could boil down the brand into one keyword that you're going to then build a campaign, which is going to be used for paid marketing, search engine optimization, right down to making sure that that correct keyword keeps coming up in every single piece of content that you're putting out for the brand. Then you go into voice and style, describing the brand's voice. What are the taglines of the brand? How is the brand describing itself for public facing? And does it match with the next thing, which is the visual identity? Does the aesthetic look and appeal of the brand match the voice and style? Does it make sense? Moving into the next item, positioning. How is the brand positioning themselves in the market, and what's their unique selling proposition? How are they different than everybody else that's out there? And then we're moving into the internal brand, again, comparing and contrasting to the external brand. Internal being, how does everybody that works for you, or all the potential people that you would want to recruit, new talent for the business, how are they engaging the product? Are they lovers of the brand, right? Are they lovers of your company? Are they rocking, they're wearing your shirts when they have to when they're in work, but are they wearing them on the weekend, right? That's what we're trying to figure out. And then external brand, how loyal are your customers? How loyal are your fans? How fierce of a following do you have? And does everything that is public facing, brand logo, color palette, and everything, does it make sense? And does it look consistent with the corporate identity internally, externally, across all websites and social media? And then we look at the internal systems when it comes to customer support, how the company itself, how the brand itself is actually engaging with the customer when it comes to things like customer service issues. What are some unique selling propositions when it comes to, or I should say, differentiating factors when it comes to internal systems, the sales processes, HR policies. And then the final thing that I took you through is the brand consistency and identity matrix, where we do a deep dive through that brand's website and all of their social media channels. Okay, so that's it. Now, whether you're a small agency, you're an independent person, you're a company that's trying to do a solid branding audit on your own, if you follow all the steps that I just showed you, and I packed a lot of information in a very short amount of time, you're going to be well on your way to building a solid foundation for many years to come. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this content. If you like what you saw here, please like and share, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you on the next one.